This was after CPAC, just so you guys know. I thought this was semi-interesting and probably bored of it.
Your own failure. It is one thing to point to an actual wrong that is being done in the world and say that this wrong needs to be corrected, because the world is filled with wrongs and it's filled with injustices and it's filled with bad things that do need correction. It is another thing to look at your own failure and then not say, what can I fix? But instead look out there at, the institution. I can't find a girl. Thus, the institution of marriage is broken, and thus I should treat women like trash.
Okay, let's stop right there. Literally no one is saying that. In fact, if anything, I love it when people want to think that because, well, first of all, he's got to hyper, ventilate over this. He's got to, it's the straw man of the red pill once again. These guys never, and I can't just say it's just Ben Shapiro, it's other guys too, but they never want to talk about, so they don't even want to have the discussion anymore. I will never have a discussion with this guy, because what will happen is the same thing that happened with Matt Walsh. When Matt Walsh went on with Jim Sexton and they were having that discussion about divorce, Matt sat there like a limp dick because he had no counter argument to literally any point that James Sexton, divorce attorney James Sexton, was bringing up. It's irrefutable. He's the expert in all of this. He's been doing it for 21 some odd years as a divorce attorney. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. He can make points that you can't defend against. No matter what your Bible says, no matter what your ideology says, no matter what your bootstraps says, it doesn't change the numbers. It doesn't change the fucking facts. And he sat there just like, didn't know what to, but what about this? Don't you believe in love? Yeah, we all do. Even Jim Sexton does, right? But that's the counter you have. Like, where's all this bullshit about because I remember when Matt Walsh was on one of these things. It was on when Candace was on one of these. And it was in the studio at the time. But they were again, they're making straw man arguments, and it was Matt Walsh who said, well, the divorce rate's much lower than these guys are talking about. That's what he believed until Jim Sexton came on there and just fucking worked him and set him straight. Jim says, no, what are we talking about? First of all, are we talking about a refined divorce rate, or are we talking about gross divorce rate? Are we talking about first divorces, second divorces, third divorces? Marriages, I should say. What are we talking about? He's defining terms in ways that a divorce attorney would settle these things out, right? He's talking about numbers. It's math. It's not even algebra. It's just like basic fucking math. And so he's throwing this out there, and Matt has no counter to it. You know why they have no counter to it? Because he was forced into a situation where he couldn't straw man, because the guy that was sitting across the table from him knew his shit. That's what they were hoping. By the way, I should say that's what they were hoping for with me on the Dr. Phil show. They thought I was going to be some sort of raving lunatic foaming at the mouth, right? They thought that I was going to be an easy hit for them. And it turned out that I knew my shit, and I fucking worked him. Still to this day, go look at the video, right? Go look at what was discussed. Superfluous. You don't even know what's fucking superfluous. I'm using language I don't even know, and I don't even think that's a $10 word, right? But so anyways, on the other show that was whatever this is, After Hours, or whatever the fuck they're calling it right now, they do the same thing. They just make a straw man out of the red pill so that they can knock it down. And that's exactly what he's doing here. And everybody's like trained fucking seals, right? Yeah, that's the way it should be. Because they believe, again, what we were just talking about, the blue pill mixed in with their religious beliefs or their ideological beliefs. That's really all this is. So they think that, the main problem I have with Shapiro and Clavin and the rest, everybody basically at this whole thing, is they're trying to solve 21st century problems with 20th century solutions. What worked in the past, what sounded good in the past. And the problem is in the 21st century, we have the numbers, we have the math, we have the James Sextons, right? We have the proof right here. Here's the data. Where'd you get it? Well, from here and here and here, Perplexity and ChatGPT and Google, and here's where I found all these stats and da, 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 da. What do you have to say about that? Bootstraps. They want to use like old school, old order thinking to solve new order problems. And it might play well to a naive, doughy-eyed, audience at CPAC. But the thing is nothing gets done. There's no solutions to that. What he's offering isn't a solution, although he wants you to believe that this is the solution. It's not. Oh, the solution is definitely not like talking about, but being upset about shit. It's like, that's not what they're upset about. Guys don't think they're owed anything. They don't think, God forbid. Anyways, let me keep going here with this. Where'd he go?
Okay, that is a terrible way to go about your life. The answer to finding a good woman is to be a good man, right? The answer to...
Okay. Once again, here we go again with you owe women a better life. The answer to finding a good woman is to be a better man, right? Well, what if I'm a better man and I don't find any good women? What if I'm a better man and it seems to me like, what's the meme right now? I've got to be 10 times better to find a woman who's 20 times worse than like my grandfather's and grandmother, right? I forget. I'm probably butchering that. Like there's no, it's always solved with like this responsibility. You got to be a better person. I got to be a better person for what? For me, or to get a wife, or to be acceptable to today's female. Is that how this works? Because that's not be better for you. That's be better for women. Your priority is not yourself. You don't become a better person for yourself. You become a better person. So in order for you to get laid, in order for you to start a family, in order for you to qualify to solve her problems.
Having a good marriage is to find a good woman and engage in a good marriage. The answer to be...
It's so simple, isn't it? Like this, you got to remember the videos that I was playing, like how he met his wife and how he's a sex pest is what he is. He's not, his mating strategy is really not much different than Destiny's. Pester her until she says yes. That was his mode.
Finding yourself a better church is to find yourself a better church. If you don't actually like the church that you're going to, if it's been taken over by wokies, then the answer is not, well, I guess we're done with the church. The church is stupid. We're not doing it anymore. The answer is to either form your own or to find a more traditional instituted church that is not doing those stupid things.
First of all, where do you find that? And people are going to say the Eastern Orthodox Church. Okay, well, sorry, but I'm not really cool with like following dudes who have gigantic beards and still dress like it's the 13th century. Second of all, imagine me go, hey guys, in fact, why don't we just do this right now? How awesome would this be? I'm starting my own church, the Church of Tomasi, the Church of Tomasi Ascended, or the Apotheosis of Tomasi. You guys want to join? Come on, join my church. I'll make it Bible-based. It'll be very, very specific and very, very pragmatic. Will you join my church? Will you think it's legitimate if I started my own church right now? No, you would say it's a cult, is what you would say. You say, how dare you? Who are you to think that you have any sort of direct line to God? Why wouldn't I? You told me I could go start my own because there's too many wokesies in mine. Imagine. What should we call it? Rollo, let's see, Saint Rollo Deceive, Saint Rollo de Tomasi. We would have to come up with something. I need something glorious, like in gloriam, Tomasi and gloriam. I need some Latin. We got to put some Latin into the name, okay? Because we're gonna start our own church. There's too much wokesies. Reignite. The Reignite is the Reignite Church. Yes, Reignite St. Rollo School of Praxeology School. Oh, school's kind of, we got to find something else. St. Rollo de Angelico. Ascended. Rollo Ascended. Tomasi Ascendancy. Oh, that'd be awesome, man. Fuck yeah.
And I think one of the great temptations of politics is to assume that politics can solve everything. You got problems in your life, economic, spiritual, marital, and politics is going to solve all of those problems. If only you can go after somebody out there and blame those people, well, then that gives you the license to do really whatever you want.
No, I halfway agree with them. A lot of people, when it comes to their own personal problems, they want to find answer, or they want to find reasons or blame people outside of themselves. That I can sort of get behind halfway anyways, because there's always going to be that tendency. It's always somebody else. It's always those guys or those other people over that other tribe over there. And I understand why he's saying this. He's saying this is like low key him saying like he doesn't want to say anti-Semitism, but that's really, but just go ahead and say it, bro.
And then the failures that spring therefrom are not your own fault. And that to me is a sin. It's a sin against yourself. It's a sin against your society. It's a sin against the God who created you, gave you free will, the ability to choose, and the skills with which to do something productive in the world.
That whiskey bottle looks awfully full to have even just that small amount of freaking. Can you see that there? That looks like a full bottle of booze right there. Is that just for show? See, here's what I want. My dream come true would be like to have, because I'm working on a private label of whiskey right now with, by the way, Charlie and Miguel. How awesome would it be to put like my booze right there and they go, oh, this is great. That'd be irony.
Yeah. It's.
Anybody else get the impression that maybe Ben Shapiro is on the same brand of Vyvanse that Destiny is? Because that was a machine gun response.
I was in a dialogue with someone online once who was talking about how because divorce laws are punitive toward men, which is undeniably true.
Yeah, it is now. It is now that Matt Walsh went head to head with Jim Sexton.
That marriage itself should.
Okay, wait. Do these guys even? They don't even light the cigar. What are you doing? Just hanging out with a cigar in your hand. Hey, look at these cigars right here. We have no idea what the fuck they are, but like they. and like just like a half like what, not even a finger of whatever this whiskey happens to be
eradicated. And this person kept saying over and over, my wife left me and she destroyed my relationship with my children. She took the house. She got half of my money. I didn't want a divorce. She chose to get this divorce. And he had tons of followers. He's creating tons of energy around this argument. And I said, listen, there's no question divorce laws are punitive toward men. They need to be changed. All of the incentives around marriage have become deeply inverted to the detriment of our society. These are real.
To the detriment of men. I think what's funny is like here you have, this is Jeremy Boring, by the way. Here you have Jeremy Boring like popping off about this stuff, which in more ways than one flies in the face of what Ben Shapiro just said. Right? Oh, if you want to just go out there and get you a good wife. But we are also acknowledging that marriage laws are punitive against men. They don't understand what the incentives are. Well, yeah, you guys just spelled it out for them. Like this is unironically an L for them, but they just simply don't understand this.
Real policy issues that need to be addressed. So, but I do think that you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, I'm sorry that this happened to you, that your wife left you for no reason. He said, well, I mean, she had a reason. I cheated on her.
Okay, so here we go with the stupid anecdotal stuff. So now all of this build up, and he's actually the one at fault. Ha ha.
And I said, oh, well, there you go. Me think.
Well, this is stupid. Okay, like what is the point of this? Like the whole point of this story is just again a fucking straw man. That's all it boils down to. Is this is just another straw man. Well, you know, these guys who talk about this stuff and they are upset about the punitive laws and marriage and this and that and everything else, but they're the one that's cheating anyway. So, that's all it is. Again, nothing gets solved. They don't care because they don't care about men. They don't care about they don't care what men are going through. They don't care about the male experience. All they care about is taking care of the problems of women. As I was saying before, the only time male issues are even anything is when women need men to step. We need men to man up. Why? For what? Because they're not living up to my expectations and they're not eligible for me to want to fuck them and for me to want to live with them. So they should get better. They should better them, become the best version of themselves to solve your problems, not to be the best version for them, so that they can be put into a position of sexual selectivity and maybe then they can find a good wife. Well, how about this? How about these guys actually take your advice? They go through all this rigmarole and then they become better versions of themselves. And they go, you know what? Women aren't worth, did you say worth the squeeze? I went through all this squeeze to make myself into a better person. And now look, because I'm not going to get married, because now I understand through the process of me becoming a better person, I realize that the divorce laws are punitive against men. So first off, what's my motivation to want to do that in the first place? And second of all, it's like, why am I putting all this effort into becoming the best version of myself in order to be acceptable to women who I don't find acceptable? Why would I want to do that? I'm a high value guy. I outshine everybody. I'm not saying me personally. I'm okay, maybe a little bit. But if you're that guy who has gone from zero to hero, and you've gone from making yourself this fucking loser into this winner, and this winner says, you know what? Through the process of me going from being a loser to becoming a winner, I've picked up a lot of things along the way. I'm a better judge of character. I know what it is that I want. I know who I want to fuck. I know who I don't want to fuck. I know who I want to start who I might want to start a family with. But but I've also learned that divorce laws are punitive towards men. And I also understand that a lot of the stuff that's going on right now is basically formed around a gynocentric social order that prioritizes the female experience above the men. So like when I get to a point where I'm a better person, I'm supposed to sacrifice all that great stuff that I became in order to solve her problems. Fuck you. You guys are not on my side. You've never been on my side. Your goals, your utopia is not my utopia. And you expect me to create a better world for you, to create a world that my children will never enjoy, but your children will? Get the fuck out of here with that.
The policy that you are actually against is the policy of you. Yeah. You're the policy of consequence, of just consequence. And that doesn't
mean the Ten Commandments. That's the policy that he opposed.
Yeah, Uncle God's policies. But it is nevertheless the case that most of what your life will be is what you make of it. There will be parts of your life that are impacted by outside forces, absolutely. And the beauty of politics is that we have the opportunity.
All right, so that's enough of that. Clavin starts mouthing off about some stuff in here too, but I don't have time to go through Clavin's old ass takes. Once again, this is a stupid, although entertaining, effort of solving 21st century problems with 20th century ideals. Every single one of those guys on this stage is either Gen X or is a boomer. And they still are subscribing to an old order way of thinking that they believe, they fervently, like if they'd pass a polygraph test, they firmly believe that these are the ways to make things better. Dude, you don't need to do this, really. Yeah, you can keep your Star of David to yourself, my friend. Thank you. What do we got here? FYI, Bob. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Baldini. Okay, no, Baldini's not good. When will Ben talk about a woman's worthiness to a man for marriage? Never. Actually, it's not even Ben. It's Jeremy Boring. Worthiness to a man for marriage. He will never lecture any woman for that. Instead, caters to the female imperative. Yeah. I should also point out that one of the guys on that stage, Michael Knowles, who keeps trying to be the white knight for Nala Fit, or Nala Ray, I guess is what she's calling herself now. This is the guy who keeps getting tricked over and over and over again. You want to know why old 20th century ideals will never solve 21st century problems, especially the sexual marketplace, will never solve those problems? Look no further than Michael Knowles getting rolled by a kid, like not a good-looking kid, but a kid nonetheless of Nala Fit. Look no further than this like moral crisis outrage about, Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue having sex with 100 to 1,000 men. I don't know. But if you don't understand 21st century marketing, or I should say marketeering of these girls, admitted marketeering by these girls, you're going to get played over and over and over again. They're going to use your platform to continue to perpetuate the same fucking problems that you're going to blame men not being man enough to qualify for these women that are supposed to be just like waiting to get wifed up. Just go out and find a good woman. Where? If that's your advice, Ben Shapiro, then clearly you should know where to find them. The synagogue, temple. Where are you finding them? Bible study, the mosque. Where Hindus worship? Anywhere. That the bookstore, Barnes and Noble, what, Panera Bread, Barney's Coffee is Starbucks. I mean, not Starbucks. Have to be a lesser named one, right? Some coffee shop somewhere. Is that where you find it? At the gym? Got to be in the gym too. Work? It's a little sketch. Where do you find them? Where are all these great women you keep talking about? It's just as simple as that. You know, it's funny, as I remember the same dismissive bullshit coming out of MRAs like Paul Elam and Dean Esme back in the day. Well, you know, you can go down and find a girl at any old fucking bar and just take her home and fuck her. Really? Because there's a lot of guys in the community who would strongly disagree with that. You still have to have game. Like I love all these, like, even passport bros are still kind of like, they understand how things work a little bit better now. Because like if you don't have game in the United States, you don't have game in the Philippines either. And I'm not saying it's not on easy mode. It might be for you, but because you have the golden ticket to go back to the US. But again, it causes other problems as well. But the thing is like, if you don't have game in the US, you don't have game in the Philippines. If you don't learn social skills, if your social skills have atrophied, you're still fighting at a disadvantage. So whether you think the environment gives you an advantage is great, but like you're still fighting at a disadvantage because you don't have the social skills to understand how to deal with women. So, I mean, I'm happy that you can go and have 3-ways in fucking Guam or wherever you're going. I don't know, Thailand, Vietnam. But the thing is that works over there. It doesn't mean you have good game. I love it when guys go overseas and they think they have good game. You didn't just magically learn game on the flight from San Francisco to Thailand. You didn't get it through osmosis. No, there's real reasons for that. But like, I love it when like that's this confidence, like where it's like people what they say, like, you're born on third and think you hit a triple. Well, then you get off the plane, you think you've hit a triple. Yeah, this is pretty true though. I'm glad you picked that out, FYI, Bob. Yeah, because they won't touch they would rather, like Matt Walsh and certainly Michael Knowles would rather be the voice of forgiveness for women's past indiscretions and their pain and their suffering, and they only had to do this because men weren't being better. It's all men's fault. I threw this one out there when Luigi Mangione was taking his perp walk down to his arraignment. It's like, I'm sure somebody's going to tell us that women's hybristophilia is men's fault. Everything is. It always, these women who are prison guards who are indicted in Canada, 29 of them. Yeah, somehow it's the guy's fault. You're fucking prisoners, and it's their fault that you had to resort to being fucked like that. Okay.